It's time for the Republican convention in Milwaukee, and that also means it's time for Trump's vice presidential selection. Now, it's being reported that Trump is down to 4 finalists. Now, today I'm going to rank those 4 to see who would be Trump's best vice president. Now, before we go any further, I have to address the attempted assassination of President Trump. It was a dark moment in American history, and I'll link to my thoughts and reaction. But Trump seems to be in good health, and politics continues, so let's dive into this ranking. First on the list is Marco Rubio, a senator from Florida. Now, there are a few pros and cons for each of these vice presidential picks, and for Rubio I want to start with the pros. First, he's a senator, and that means he has connections in Congress. Working with Congress is key to passing and then signing as president, getting legislation done. And Marco Rubio as a VP could be a great connection point for Trump. Also, Marco Rubio could help with the Hispanic vote. He's popular in Florida, and that could be applied to this key group that can help sway this election. But there is a negative: where he's from. Florida, first, is the same state as Donald Trump, which creates some conflict, some problems to overcome. But also, Florida is already Republican, so that's not a state that he can flip. It's not a swing state. But Rubio is still a strong candidate. I'm going to rank him at number 3. Next up is J.D. Vance, who is also a senator, but he's from Ohio. Much like Rubio, he has the congressional connection, which could be a benefit, but he has another pro, which is loyalty. Over the past few years, Trump and J.D. Vance have stayed very close together in viewpoint, in thought, in opinion. There is a high level of loyalty between these two. Another pro is that he has the Midwest appeal. He's from Ohio. Though it has been pointed out that in Ohio, his election results haven't been the strongest. I still think overall that he would help in the Midwest, but I don't think he's as strong as some people are painting him. Also, there's a problem that he's made some very negative comments in the past about Trump. He really wasn't a Trump fan and slowly came to join the movement, and those comments are going to be playing on repeat on television and on social media. At the same time, he could turn that into a pro. He could say, I was skeptical, but Trump won me over, and that could be a convincing message. So I think J.D. Vance overall isn't a great pick, but he does have some strengths. I'm going to put J.D. Vance probably down at number 4. Next up is Doug Burgum, the governor of North Dakota. Now, this is both a pro and a con. Doug Burgum is boring. You may not have heard about him. If you really watched the 2024 Republican primary, we covered Burgum. He was in some of the debates. Burgum is just a standard Midwest governor. He's not the most exciting, and really his strength comes down to just being a good governor. He's good at governing. He's a good leader. He's a businessman. I think the boring element is a pro in that it's going to balance Trump, and balancing a ticket is key. But I think it's also a con in that he's not going to attract very much attention. He's going to be in the background, which honestly for Trump is probably a good thing. I think he would bring stability to the ticket, he would ease concerns of moderates, and that's why I'm going to put Doug Burgum in the number 2 slot. Finally, we have Tim Scott. Now, when you look at a Harvard-Harris poll from a few weeks ago that shows the VP choices Trump could make, you look at this, Burgum is underwater, Rubio is very little impact, but Tim Scott by far has the best polling impact on a Trump ticket. And I think this is for a number of reasons. First, he's likable. He's energetic. If you've listened to Tim Scott, you just go away from the event smiling. Tim Scott is a likable guy. The negative is that South Carolina and the South in general is a relatively safe area. I'm not sure he would have much sway on the electoral map, but across the nation, I do think he would have a sway on moderates. Tim Scott has an incredible life story and is an incredible person, and I think he would make a great vice president by the polling and just by who he is. And for those reasons, I'm going to rank Tim Scott as my #1 pick for Trump's vice president. So there you go. There is the short list, the 4 candidates that are in the running. There is a chance Trump chooses someone else, but regardless, there's my ranking. Thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed, because in the next few weeks, a lot is happening on the political stage.